Hey, No Why listeners, let me ask you a quick question. Why do we feel the need to share everything online? Now, I'm not the first to ask this question, obviously, but I've been thinking about it this week because of a new product I saw advertised online. It's called Waves or Wave glasses. So they're glasses that you wear, and they are billed as all-day camera glasses for storytellers who want to record, clip, and stream the human experience. Now, they're not out in the world yet, but people are pre-ordering them, and I believe they're slated to be released in September. And let me just say, the video ad for these glasses is pretty creepy to me. It shows a house party with people drinking, they're dancing around a pool. It even shows the glasses wearer going into a private bedroom in the house at one point and seeing somebody kind of set things up clearly for some adult activities. And the guy like taps his glasses to actually save the clip of that. So talk about major privacy invasion that they're using in the ad. So it's kind of, I don't know, a little bit weird or dystopian feeling to me, but obviously there are privacy concerns with these, and I am not making this episode about that because that is such a big conversation. I'm sure we'll do another episode or series on just kind of like technology again, like we've done in the past, and cover some of these newer concerns. But just, I mean, briefly, obviously there's these glasses, when they're on, they're always recording. Supposedly it only saves whenever you want it to save, but there's the concern of data breaches, of people being recorded and live streamed against their will, without consent, because these look like, just very typical glasses. They're, kids being recorded in public, and really we're entering a world where there is no guarantee of privacy anymore. So again, that's definitely a concern. But I want to talk about today for just a few moments why there was even a need or a supposed need for a kind of product like this to begin with. And I think it is a kind of a continuation or extreme of what we've already seen since the advent of social media, which is this compulsion that so many people feel to constantly share their lives online. Because really what the glasses are doing, it's billed as this thing for content creators and storytellers, but it allows you to basically move throughout your life and record everything without having to get your phone in and out of your pocket. Because think about it, you probably already know that person who's they've always got their phone, they're always recording, they're always taking pictures. And as I'm going to discuss, that's not a bad thing to want to take pictures and save memories, but there is an extreme level of it that I think these glasses feed into. And I think it really points to a deeper need and desire that we have as human beings. And modern technology like social media and devices that allow us to record all the time, they might not be inherently bad or evil, but I do think that they present a counterfeit to the need that we actually have as humans. So I want to talk about that. Now, the need to share it all is nothing new. You can find lots of articles and think pieces about that, but there is a sense that, even young adults like members of Gen Z or people who were raised constantly around screens and with social media being a part of daily life, if you're not connected online at some point, or if you haven't shared something online, then it's less valid or less legitimate. It doesn't count. And there is this sense that the digital world is more real. And that's not super surprising when you have young people who are spending an average of 4 hours a day or a lot more online, when for a large part of the population, the majority of that person's interactions with other people is all online. And so, of course, that's going to start to feel like the real world to us, even though it's not. You can also curate your own identity online, whether that's just through what you post and what you choose to share with people, or even things like, Bitmojis or kind of your online presence. People can really create a little image of themselves and make it look however they want. Younger people and teens are more likely to spend money on those types of things online than older generations. And that goes to show, some people argue that that forming of online identity is really important to people who spend the majority of their lives online. So this shows to me, in my opinion, that we are gleaning our sense of belonging and identity and even purpose from the digital realm, from the online world, because this can, be influenced by how many interactions we might get on a post, what people say about us online, what our online experience is. And again, it's that we get to kind of remake ourselves. And some people think that that's a positive thing, that we get to kind of have our own persona online, but I'm not so sure. Another reason people are constantly sharing online or looking online is, of course, FOMO, which is really discontentment at its core, the fear of missing out. We're addicted to seeing what other people are doing and thinking all the time. Even if we know it's not great for our mental health, it's hard to stop looking at that. And really, we want to compare our own lives. We want to see, am I happy enough? Am I good enough? Am I measuring up? Like, am I happy with the identity that I've created online compared to somebody else's? And maybe you haven't ever thought those specific words, but really that's what we're doing. So I'll admit something that I've done that's cringe, but maybe you've done it too, like where you have a new follower or a new friend online or something, and you go and you look at your profile, and then without even thinking, sometimes I'll go back and immediately look at my own. Like, why am I doing that? It's because we want to compare. We want to see how we measure up. We want to see if our identity online, if the life that it looks like we're living, how that compares to the life that it looks like somebody else is living. So, and here's where I think this all circles back to this perceived need for camera glasses that literally record everything all the time. You can literally just tap and save every single moment that you see with your own eyes because it's constantly recording. I think we have a sense of FOMO for our own lives sometimes, especially if we are the type of person that tends to feel like we constantly need to capture or record. So I think cameras are a blessing. I think they're an awesome invention. They do give us the potential to record moments, to look back at special moments in time and have those memories. But when they're turned into an obsession, it actually, I think at its core is a fear that if we don't document this moment in time on camera or in a video, it will be lost. We will have regret. And what's ironic is that when we get so caught up with this fear or obsession, we actually do lose the moment because we're so concerned with capturing it that we don't live it. We don't get that raw experience. We only get that filtered experience from looking back at it later. Like, oh yeah, that was really fun when we did that. I don't remember it. I only have it in my camera because I was so focused on just taking the picture or the video at the time. And so when we've got, lenses on our eyes, not that everybody's going to get this, or get these products, but I think that it's kind of like putting a filter on your own life of, I'm constantly thinking about, oh, do I need to live stream this? I need to capture this. I need to save this clip, instead of just like, take the glasses off, metaphorically and literally, and just look, like really enjoy your own life. Now, if you need glasses for prescription reasons, please keep them on. So let me go back a little bit. I'm a big fan of recording. I love photo albums and scrapbooks. My mom did a really good job back in the 90s and early 2000s, before social media was very much of a thing, of making lots of scrapbooks. And so I love looking at those. And I really do think it solidifies a lot of childhood memories for me. I also have always loved writing in a diary. I love recording moments in my life, special moments and just day-to-day thoughts. When I was a teenager, I had a video camera, the kind that you had to hold like this. And, I loved that. I loved making videos with my friends and saving memories. But at some point, we have to turn those things off. And I do think there is a difference between what we had then, kind of those more traditional things, because it is something you have to bring out for a moment. It's like, okay, I'm going to capture this, but then you have to put it away. It's not as easy as a phone or, again, the glasses, where it's just on all the time. Even with writing in a diary or a journal, like you still have to live it first, and then you go back and you write down your memories of the moment that you lived. It doesn't interrupt your living. But I mean, you've seen it on vacations, or you're at like a cool landmark, or even people hanging out with their friends, and it's phones. If they're not, maybe it's better than just looking down and not interacting at all. But think about how much of people's lives have been seen through a little screen like this rather than looking fully at the moment. Think about it in other ways. If you're having a hard time seeing if this is a problem, think about somebody who spends their whole life just sitting on the couch looking at photo albums. And they never look up. They never, they never take pictures of now. They never go like live in the now. Or somebody who's only reading their journal entries. They're never like going out and living life right now. Never making new memories to write down in future journals. So I think it's a similar issue, even though it's a little bit reversed, of the constant need that we are starting to feel in the modern digital age, where the digital realm feels more real and legitimate than just raw life, so to speak. That there's this constant need to record, snap a photo, to share, or live stream. It's the same core issue as somebody who is obsessed about only looking at past pictures. And it's that fear again. It's that fear that our life is going to slip away and we won't capture it. But again, that fear becomes realized in that moment because it robs us of living in that moment. If we're too obsessed with losing it, then we will lose it. We'll lose what we're trying to capture. So, and it reminded me of something that I read. So I love reading, and this is Sean Smucker is a great author. So this is the second book of his that I'm reading. It's called The Edge of Over There. And I don't want to give away book spoilers, but there's the main character, Abra, in this book, and she's on a very important mission, and she gets lured away to this place where there are all these pools of water. And when she looks into the pools, she sees either a past moment in her life or a future moment. So this is, that's the context. And I underlined this a few days ago before I even thought I was going to record an episode on this topic. And then kind of my thoughts just congealed and I realized it was all connected. So Abra stumbled between the craters of water. She refused to look. Of course, she wanted to look, but she knew why Beatrice had brought her there. She could easily spend the rest of her natural life staring into each and every pool, reliving moments until all of the pools that showed her future showed only an old woman staring in pools, reliving the past. That just really hit me when I read it, because there she is in this place where she can literally see her past and her future. And it's so tempting because you just want to look at it. But she, in that moment, overcomes that because she realizes that eventually if she does that, that image of only seeing an old woman looking into pools, that becomes her whole life. Do we want our whole life to be us looking through our phones or constantly recording something? That robs us of actually living. So again, Beatrice in this story represents a bad actor. It's a tiny spoiler, but don't worry, you'll see it coming. And I'm not really sure what kind of being she is yet in the story, but let's just say she's not friendly. She is one of the antagonists, trying to keep the main character from accomplishing her super important mission. And so she uses distraction of self-absorption in the story, the temptation to become absorbed in Abra's own past and the potential of her own future, so much so that she could, if she stayed there, completely miss out on living her own life. We do have a purpose in life. The stories are great, but they represent a reality of we have our own purpose. We have our own mission. We have a purpose to actually live, not just create the illusion of living by constantly showing our lives in the digital realm. And I really think that's what we're doing. I think if we become so focused on capturing every moment, saving every memory, the need to constantly be recording and saving clips, or just like live streaming normal experiences, I think that is creating the illusion of a life and robbing us of actually living the life. In recent episodes, we've talked about how we're made in the image of God, and that means a few different things. So not to get too theologically deep here, and I know that I don't even understand this fully, but we do reflect certain aspects of God's nature. And one of the core things about that is that he is relational. The Bible says God is love. So he is relational by his very nature, and so are we. We need relationships. We need meaningful connection and community. Being made in the image of God also means that we're his representatives here on earth. So we are rulers or stewards of his creation here on earth. And so we have a mission to live that out, to be caretakers of the world. I think it's ironic, maybe not by accident, that the thing in modern life that promises what we so desperately desire, which is connection, and that's like social media and the digital realm, it robs us of the thing that's actually going to fill that need, that desire in us, which is real life connection. And it distracts us from actually living. It promises you that you can show your life off to everybody else, and you can look at everybody else's life and you can be way more connected. But we become so obsessed with showing our own lives and looking at everybody else's and capturing everything so that we don't forget about it in the future, that we get distracted from actually living out our mission and fulfilling our deepest desire. So what this doesn't mean is that we can never share things on social media. I mean, I do. Or that we should never take pictures or videos to capture a memory, because I do that too. But we need to be able to have limits. And we just need to acknowledge that in the modern age, these devices that make things so convenient can also make it really hard to have that distinction between, like, it's easier when you're lugging around a camcorder to be like, okay, I've got to put this down now. Or a traditional camera versus a phone, which is like connected to us basically. And then these newer devices like glasses and probably other things in the future that are coming that really just kind of become part of us in an even more, connected and physical way. That's just going to, make it even harder to delineate like what's something we're sharing on like basically a digital photo album like Instagram or Facebook, and what's a moment that I actually need to just live. Again, take the glasses off, so to speak. And I mean, I've caught myself doing this. I'll step outside in the morning, see a gorgeous sunrise, and I like immediately am like, gotta take a picture. And it wasn't until I bought something that actually locks my social media accounts to help prevent me from that distraction that I realized, like the first couple times after I had started blocking the social media apps. I actually use a product called a Brick. The first couple times that, I was doing stuff after I had those blocked, there was a cute moment with my kids, or there was, a beautiful scene outside or something. And I just like immediately wanted to pull out my phone. And then I realized, oh, Instagram's locked. Like I can't share this to my story right now. And then I just put my phone away because I was like, well, if I can't share it right now, I don't actually need to take a picture of this. I need to just enjoy it, just kind of like soak this in. And so not having constant access to post stuff or share it, or, not, I don't normally stream, but basically to upload it to the digital realm, not having immediate access to do that made me realize how much I was missing out on, because that was my default, was to always do that. And again, even like how much more so is that going to be the case when more people have devices like glasses where it's doing that constantly. So I encourage you to think about that. Next time you have the urge to reach for your phone or to start recording, think about what's the why here? What's the deeper need that I think I'm filling right now? And is it actually the illusion of feeling this need? Is it keeping me from actually having a fulfilling life in this moment? You may think it's not that deep. It's not that big. I don't know. I think maybe it is. I'm really skeptical about some of this new technology, like these glasses and things like that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have a different take, and I would love to hear it, because really this is just a conversation, especially in these summer episodes that we've done that are winding down, is kind of just my reflections to things that we see happening in our world. And I want to dig down deep together and say, what's the core thing here? Like, what's at the root of this? What's the why? And so I think when it comes to social media and devices that make it super easy for us to just snap and record and share and live stream all the time, I really think that it's a counterfeit of the needs and purposes that we were truly made for. And I don't want us to miss out on actually living our lives. I don't want us to be like the character in the book, the potential of looking in the mirrors or in the pools for so long that we just become old people that are doing this, which, if you're listening, I'm staring at my iPhone. That's all I have for today. Those are my thoughts. So I really would love to hear from you. Leave a comment wherever you're listening. Also, don't forget to rate and review in whatever app you listen to the podcast and share it with others. And you can contact me at knowwhypodcast.com if you have topics that you think we should cover or series you think we should dive into once we start interviewing experts again soon. I'll see you next week on the Know Why Podcast.